the CGIAR system for making this possible to have this side event at the scope. So thanks to all, and I hope I keep the time.
Thank you, Sam, for your remarks. Next, we are honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Osamu Kubota, Deputy Assistant Minister of the MAF of Japan. Yes, Kubota-san, dozo.
Thank you very much, Makoto. As I introduced, my name is Kubota Osamu, Deputy Assistant Minister of Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries of Japan. And on behalf of the organizer, I would like to thank everybody for joining us today in person and online. As the keynote speech, I would like to present about the Japan's climate change countermeasures in agriculture, especially focus on the adaptations measures. Next slide, please. Slide, please. I think this graph is all familiar with that. World's average temperatures has risen 0.77 degree in the past 100 years, and also in Japan it's even higher. That it has risen for 1.48 degrees in over the last 100 years. So agriculture is one of the main source of GHG emissions. So of course, enhancing mitigation measures is certainly needed, but also that agriculture is the victim of the global warming. For example, that high temperature causes deterioration in the quality of the product. That is happening in all over Japan, and also mitigation measures is also needed. Agriculture is a very an industry that so vulnerable to the climate change. So one of today's theme is about adaptation. So adaptation measures is all needed in the agriculture sector. Next slide, please. Looking at the funding situations for agriculture sector in the climate change measures, it is in short, it is very short or very poor. That only 4.3% of climate funding comes for the agriculture sector, which means that it is always underfunded in this sector for the climate change countermeasures. Next slide, please. So what we are doing for the climate adaptation, climate change adaptation in agriculture, this shows slides. First, about the national level initiative, Japan formulated the National Climate Change Adaptation Plan, which covers all sectors, including agriculture. And of course, there is a plan by sector. And as for the agriculture sector, the Ministry of Agriculture, MAF, established its climate change adaptation plan, or MAF, in
Oh, maybe in the. So please come all panelists here. So in addition to MAF, we are joined by IFAD, International Fund for Agriculture Development, a UN specialized agency. So Ms. Bogart, it's an international financial institution supporting agriculture development in developing countries. And ADB, you can see here, yeah, the Asian, I know, Asian Development Bank, and obviously Regional Development Bank in the Asia Pacific region. And in addition to the financial institution in the global level and the regional level, we also have research and the private technology company and the solution provider, JOCAS, the Japan International Research Center for Agriculture Science. So the research institute promoting international collaboration in agriculture research, and the SAGRI, the Mr. Tsuboi, a startup company with advanced sensing and monitoring technology they normally use for MRV and more. So now, so first representing the Japan private sector, we have SAGRI. So Mr. Tsuboi, which provide MRV for land border mapping and soil analytics, as well as for monitoring paddy water levels and methane reduction, utilizing satellite and AI. I'd like to invite Mr. Shunsuke Tsuboi, CEO of SAGRI, to deliver his presentation.
Thank you very much. So my name is Shunsuke Tsuboi. I'm SAGRI founder and CEO. So SAGRI is represent satellite and AI and grid. So we using satellite data and monitoring the agri-field, such as the soil situation and like water situation, what is existed or not, and also like farmlands are like crop types. So also we can monitoring. So like mission is like sorry, next slide, please. Mission is like creating value by visualizing farmlands. So we have like three core technology. The first one is like the first one is this one. So farmland boundary detection. So we called AI polygon. So using the machine learning, so farmland size we understand. So this is the base of the transparency of each countries. So we put on the analysis data on the polygon and provide the farmers and the farmers organization and like government sector and companies. The second one is the soil carbon monitoring. So this one is red one, the blue one is existed. So blue one is like soil organic carbon is SOC, called SOC is increasing. So catch the data. So where is like more like needed for the SOC, so we can find. So the third one is like a paddy water monitoring. So you're so hot. It's okay. So in Japan, the like ASEAN like each of the country is like from the like, paddy sector is emitted of the CH4 to reduce decreases the CH4 emission gas. So cuts the so like water situation. So in Japan is like 30% 1 week of the like cut the water around the 30% of the like CH4 emission gas. In Asia now is like started the AWD programs. So in the open the JC as like a joint JCM. So Philippines open this mechanism. So second page, please. So recently, so we announced like soil organic soil monitoring situation. The first one is like using this data to making the like, carbon credit. So we using the better platform. So one of the like methodology VM0042 and VT0014. This is like approved the satellite imagery. So before that, the most of the like farmland data is needed to pick up the soil and the checking one by one. This is so costly and like not scalable. So we using satellite data can reduce these manual ways. This is can scalable situation. And so in October in this year, so we are like public comment stage. One of the like earliest the adapter of this methodology. The second one is like a Sagri vision. So this is also in the COPS situation we are launching a new product of the carbon incentive program. So for the like a food or like beverage company needs to the monitoring the farmland situation about the scope 3 situation. But like most of the company don't know where the each integrants is coming from. So we using the like a polygon and like a situation where is like a tracking at firstly at how amount of GHG emission gases happen each of the farmlands and try to reduce this action. This data is can monitoring on-site the Sagri visions. So we are so aligned with the GHG protocol, so LSRG, and also like SBTF flag is aligned also. The next please. And third one is like a paddy water monitoring. So this one is like we now is we have the two model. One is a satellite data and the machine learning and monitoring the water situation and wet or dry situation. And also we combine the like temperature data and the water fall data. This is every day. So every 1 hours. So what is the water situation is like that. So we can making this data. This is can so spread it now is Japan and Asia. So and also this is try to making the carbon credit like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tsuboi. So we all need to rethink the status quo. So give you. Feel comfortable. So next, representing research institution, research community. So Mr. Funai will give us a presentation. Please go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much for your introduction. So my name is Yasuo Funaki. So I came from the JIRCAS. So JIRCAS is Japan International Research Center for Agricultural Sciences, located in Tsukuba City in Japan. So could you next slide, please? Okay. So just let me explain a little bit about JIRCAS. JIRCAS is the research agriculture research center, and which has been conducting collaborative research with partners in developing countries for more than half a century. And so we are now conducting the Green Asia project. And in 2021, MAF developed the sustainable program. So sorry. So Japan developed the strategy for sustainable food systems. That is called Midori strategy. And in line with this, JIRCAS is conducting the project called Green Asia. So for accelerating application of agricultural technologies which enhance productivity potential and ensure the sustainability, a sustainable food system in the Asian monsoon region. Okay. So why we are focusing on Asian monsoon region? It's because we share the same characteristics in the region, such as hot and humid climate, so paddy rice farming, and these are operated by small and medium sized farmers. And Asian monsoon region embraces 44% of the world population, 9% of the world total land area, and 28% of the global GDP. So these are estimated by our institution. And more importantly, so 40% of the global non-CO2 GHG, or methane emission and nitrous oxide emissions from agriculture derives from this area. So that's why the transformation of food systems in this region will provide a significant impact on the global agenda. Next, please. So to contribute to the transformation of food systems in Asia monsoon region, so we developed the technology catalog version 4, or this includes 44 scalable technologies from not only our institute, but also other national agricultural research institutes in Japan and universities. And for example, so there is a contribution areas in line with the Midori strategy. So for example, there are two examples for greenhouse gas reduction. One is biological nitrification inhibition, maintaining wheat yield with reduced. Go back, please. Slide, go back, please. Go back, please. No, go. Okay. And so I'm saying the biological inhibition, nitrification inhibition crops. So this is one of the mitigation measures. The other one is mitigation of methane emissions from local cattle using cashew nut shells liquid feeding. We also have the adaptation side. So this is so we exemplify the climate disaster mitigation. So one example is a deep planting technology for sustainably producing sugarcane. Next, please. Go back, please. So we present these international forums, and now these technologies are featured on the website of the various international organizations and ASEAN member states websites. And having these efforts, so the technology category is now adopted in Middle Infinity, as Mr. Kubota explained, and the ASEAN-Japan Middle Cooperation Plan as our next three, and ASEAN guidelines on the reduction of crop burning, and Thailand taxonomy, and the WIPO green technology book expedition. So through these, we try to contribute to food systems transformation in the Asia-Mons region. But I said that it's very important to have more collaboration with financial institutions to accelerate these activities and enhance more about the transformation of the Asia-Mons region. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Funaki. That was so helpful. Next, so Mr. Eugene Zukov, and from the Director General AgriFood Climate Change and Sustainable Development Division. Please go ahead, please. So,
thank you. Thank you. Then thank you for inviting ADB to present in this session. For those who don't know as much, I'm sure all do, but we are international financial institution, a regional development bank with headquarters in Manila, Philippines. We have 69 member countries, including 40+ developing member countries. So we work across Asia Pacific, from Georgia in the west, all the way to the Pacific Islands in the east. Our annual lending operations are close to about $30 billion US. And climate and agriculture and food are of increasing importance to the Asian Development Bank. So as you know, Asian Pacific is confronted with the adverse impacts of increasing floods, drought, extreme heat, and rising sea levels, which exacerbate development challenges across sectors, national and subnational boundaries. So agriculture and food system by itself accounts only for about 1/4 of the greenhouse emissions, and remains at the same time one of the most climate vulnerable sectors. So climate change threatens food security and livelihoods across the Asia-Pacific region and the world. Despite the critical importance of agriculture, as Assistant Minister mentioned, only 4% of global climate finance goes into the sector, which is inadequate. So as the accelerating climate crisis threatens the progress achieved in poverty reduction in recent years. So addressing this challenge of mitigation and adaptation requires coordinated actions across finance, technology, and policies. So in response to these challenges, ADB is strongly committed to help our member countries achieve low carbon, climate resilient, and inclusive food systems. So our overall corporate goal is to make sure that 50% of our total annual commitments by year 2030 are devoted to climate finance, which will mean that we will achieve more than $100 billion in climate finance between 2019 and 2030. Additionally to that, during our annual meeting in Milan, Italy this year, ADB President Kanda committed that between 2023 and 2030, ADB will commit $40 billion for enhancing food and nutritional security, climate resilience, and natural capital. So we support climate actions in the agriculture sector, such as reducing emissions from at least but not limited to rice and livestock, which is the main contributor to the greenhouse emissions in the agriculture sector. At the same time, we work with our countries to strengthen resilience through improved water management, ecosystem restoration, and nature-positive farming. So the 4% is a small number for this important sector. So we're working to address the financing gap through innovative and blended financial institutions, including working with the government of Japan through Japan Fund for the Joint Creating Mechanism, or GFGCM, which provides upfront finance to incentivize deployment and advanced low carbon technologies, enable cooperative approaches aligned with the Article 6 between Japan and other countries. We also support our developing member countries in building climate and disaster resilience. We, under our concessional window, which we call Asian Development Fund, we established a dedicated window focusing on climate and disaster resilience. We also supported the regional fiscal resilience initiative, which helps finance ministers across Asia and Pacific to align public finances across climate and disaster risks. And just recently, last month, we worked with our partners in the Green Climate Fund based in Seoul, Korea, to get the approval for $250 million US in concessional funding for what we call glaciers to farms initiatives. So this will connect upstream glacier monitoring and nature-based solution with downstream efforts in water management, agriculture, and disaster risk reduction. So the aim is to leverage $250 million to deliver $3 billion in EDB assistance for this very important sector. These are just some examples that of the work which we do in agriculture sector. Let me stop here.
Thank you, Mr. Zukov. I appreciate your remark. So next, we'd like to invite Ms. Pitano Bogart. Thank you. Managing Director at IFAD.
Thank you so much for that introduction. You're the first who said my name correctly, so compliments. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, one of the 3 Rome-based agencies of the UN. But we are slightly different in the sense that we are really a financial institution. We collect funds that we lend on to governments for specific purposes to invest in rural areas. And in rural areas, 80% are smallholder farms. So automatically we're in agricultural development automatically. And we are highly appreciative of Japan already for a long time. We are almost 50 years old, and Japan has been a consistent large contributor to IFAD. So we are extremely grateful that Japan allows us to do what we do at the moment. And in addition to that, Japan and the ministry called MAF is also has together we have a wonderful program called engagement links between the private sector and the smallholders, ELPS for short. And it's such a success that we really are keen to replicate it. Is what it does. It helps and it supports, thanks to the Ministry of Japan, it helps smallholders to produce what is needed and to package it, to produce what is needed for the Japanese market, to produce it in such a way that it's sustainable, and to package it in such a way that it's ready for the Japanese market. And that is really, it sounds very simple, but it's, and it is in effect very simple, but extremely effective. And then of course it is a guaranteed offtake. It brings more income to the smallholder farmers, as well as training and techniques so that they know how to farm better with bearing in mind climate change. So really, really grateful to be here and grateful to Japan and the ministry. And when we talk about climate change, of course, the smallholders are extremely vulnerable. They are organic farmers, not because they want to, increasingly they want to, but often out of necessity. And if you're an organic farmer, it means you're completely reliant on nature. And if nature is becoming more erratic, less predictable, that is an issue for your productivity, for your income, for your life, and for everything. So what we try to do is help farmers not to become less organic, but to at least help them adapt to the climate changes with genetics, with techniques, with mechanization, with small mechanization, small roads, and access to finance. Of course, we always say the private sector. There's 2 big issues, the private sector engagement and access to finance. These are recurring topics on the conferences that I attend. And the private sector engagement is not easy. Japan, the program we have with MAF is a very good example. We've seen whenever we involve the private sector in our programs, the impact is 4 times higher. And the private sector can be an off-taker, can be an investor in processing, it can be an organization that provides training and techniques. So it has a big, big effect. So a big reason to involve the private sector. And access to finance is not only an issue in developing countries and in rural areas. I've been in agricultural, in commercial banking for most part of my career. And the first thing that they teach you in banking school is not to finance what you eat and drink. And this is the reality. And then I'm not even talking about developing countries. I'm not even talking about smallholder farms. This is the reality. So banks are not very keen on the agriculture sector. It's complex, small margins. They don't understand it. So they'd rather finance other big tech companies and so on, or startups, or for that matter. So this is an issue that we have to overcome. It's a lot of perceived risks that the financial sector has, and also a misunderstanding of the agricultural sector. So we also feel an obligation as IFAD to explain better the agricultural sector in general, and especially in smallholder. That is not such a big risk as you might think if you do it, if you help smallholder farms to produce better and better and more higher yields, in the sense, in a good way. So for that, we have prepared a book called Handbook on Adaptation Finance, which is trying to bridge this gap between the public and the private sector by explaining that adaptation finance has multiple benefits, economic benefits, and we even calculated, or the World Research Institute, I must say, has calculated that for every dollar in adaptation finance, you have $10 return. So that is quite a lot in return in terms of more income. It's not a profit return as in the corporate world, but it's a 10 times benefit, economic benefits, as I mentioned, like income, education, better health, and also financial return. So this is a publication. We're going to launch that publication this afternoon in I don't know, looking at myself, I think half an hour, 5 minutes. At 5 o'clock at the NDC Pavilion, so more than welcome to join us there. But yeah, from my perspective, I'm really glad to be here. And again, thanks for being such a strong partner at Japan, and for helping us to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burgard. So, Mr. Zuko, sorry. And so addressing the imbalance, the investment financial money flow in the agriculture sector, it's a kind of a chicken and egg situation. So you mobilizing the public capital together with the private sector, as well as the fund like Green Climate Fund you mentioned. So, but we also need to understand what the technology portfolio you're investing in. So probably mitigation option in energy sector, AWD is also covering the energy sector as well. So it's easy to name it, the wind and solar and electric vehicles. What is the mitigation option in agriculture, and especially probably adaptation measures?
Maybe I'm not going to use my notes. I'm going to give a specific example. I'm in this job for the last 3 months. Before that, I was Director General for ADB operations in Central and West Asia, which covers all the stands, including Pakistan and Afghanistan, and 3 countries in the Caucasus, Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. And if you know anything about this region, you would know there is a great disbalance in water in this region. We have some countries where main glaciers are located, for example, Tajikistan and Kyrgyz Republic. So they have abundance of water. And then you have countries downstream, which are very much water stressed, including Uzbekistan, which is one of the only 2 countries in the world which are so-called double landlocked countries. So which means the 2 countries between any of their borders and the ocean. So for them, water is a matter of life and death. So in the case of Uzbekistan, their main water sources come from 2 large rivers, Amu Darya and Sir Darya. Amu Darya originates in Pamir Mountains, and the Ser Darya is also somewhere there. And for many years during Soviet time, Soviet planning authorities introduced cotton as the main agriculture product for Uzbekistan, which was very water intensive, and which resulted in almost disappearance of the Aral Sea, where the Amu Darya and Ser Darya rivers are flowing to. So now Uzbekistan is trying to change the direction. So they're trying to reduce the cotton production, introduce more kind of less water, the agriculture which uses less water resources. In the meantime, their existing irrigation system, which dates to 1970s, 1980s, is totally outdated. It's full of the unlined canals. So it's just earth there. And then these main canals, they go into individual farms. And so there is the issue here with technology that, either these canals needs to be lined up with the concrete, which is not necessarily environmentally friendly thing, or there has to be some other solutions. And there is also a huge issue of water pricing in many of these countries. So the main canals are a big problem. But the main problem is not that. The main problem is that the water is mispriced. So the individual agriculture firms or the farmers, they don't feel any reason that they need to save that water. So there has to be a combination of technological change, including maybe introduction of drip irrigation and other sorts of things, or the different type of crops. But there also has to be policy reforms, which can be quite difficult, because obviously it's a political issue if a majority of our population would experience increased in the price of the major resource. So this is something which the government of Uzbekistan is realizing, and we're working quite close with them. Also in Central Asia, we have what we call Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Program, which covers all these countries, plus China and Mongolia. So because this water used for agriculture also is a transboundary issue, right? So we need to make sure that these countries cooperate with each other, because if you read political observers, they think that the main reason for conflict in this region in the future would be water scarcity. So we have to work together to make sure that this doesn't happen. Then we can use innovative Japanese technologies and some policy reforms to make sure that this sector prospers in the future.
Thank you. So IFA just released the new report, probably. It's about the business case in the adaptation. Could you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, like I said, it's in an attempt to showcase, based on research, based on evidence, that adaptation finance makes sense. I think already the numbers were mentioned, that there's a very small portion of finance going to adaptation finance, and it's very often seen as a cost. And what we're trying to say is it's not a cost, it's an investment with a return. And a return in many ways, a social return, an income return, and financial return. And the publication is looking at it from different angles: cost benefit, return, and so on. Like I mentioned, the $1 investment has $10 return, with the substantiation on how that is possible. Because I think this is the problem with adaptation finance, that it for so long it has been seen as a cost. That's one. And the other thing is that it's also when governments prioritize, it's not always easy to prioritize something that has a long-term benefit, because that's what we're talking about. Building a dam or building a pier to stop the water from harming your coast only has a benefit in the long term. And we try to make it visible already now what you're going to gain, and to incentivize governments to do something about it as well, to invest in it. But not only governments, also the private sector. So we're trying to use the language that the private sector uses, and that the Ministry of Finance also understands, and not only the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I like you mentioned the longer term investments in the long lasting mitigation option or the adaptation. So the good teacher teach how to fish and probably a bad teacher and feeding their fish. So what type of the adaptation option is long lasting on the effect in the local community, in the smaller farmers?
Well, I mean, there's irrigation. It was already mentioned. Water is a big thing. I mean, it's in the end very simple. You need good soils, you need water, you need light to grow plants as well as animals, for that matter. So what we're looking at is regenerative investment in regenerative agriculture to make sure the soils remain healthy. As a result, you need less inputs. You need your plants are more healthy, more can resist pests. You need less chemicals if you already have access to that. So it has a benefit, and with that we also see with regenerative agriculture that the yields are also going up. In the past, we couldn't make that case so much yet. There was always a question: yeah, if you go to organic, is that really going to produce enough food for the world? We can now say yes, it does. It provides healthier crops and a healthier planet with that. So that's an example in the soils, irrigation for water, but also flood-resistant irrigation. That's also important. Good genetics, seeds genetics, using local varieties, that kind of things is what we promote.
Thank you. I just look at the report and I like the term the engine of economic opportunities in the phrase of the adaptation investment. I like it. So mitigation is often described as a cost, as you mentioned, and addressing the root cause of mitigation is addressing the root cause of the problem, but adaptation is sometimes fixing temporarily. So people would say that, but probably you don't agree on that. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I know. So Mr. Funaki, so you have a great technology portfolio, and it's great to see you publish the catalog to better understand what's the technology and solution is available from your organization. And thanks to Mafu to aggregate all technology from Japan ecosystem. So could you tell us a little bit?
Yes. So actually, this is a technology catalog. So I explained. So this includes 44 scalable technologies. That's it. So these are for increasing production potentials while reducing the environmental loads. So and actually, so the ADB and if I had mentioned about several technologies, but I believe these are included in this technology catalog, but this is for the Asia Monsoon region. And so maybe this technology category includes mitigation technology. So we have 12 mitigation technologies, but we have 6 disaster risk management technologies. These are actually the adaptation technologies. So to accelerate the dissemination and adaptation in the Asian monsoon region, so it's important to make field trials because there is no one size fits all approach there. So that's why to accelerate these, so maybe so I believe that it's much better to accelerate these by collaborating the financial institutes, because they have not only have a financial stance, but also they have a knowledge about the local issues, because they have a good research capabilities. So it's really nice to have with them today, and we can have more collaboration with them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to see the catalog, even it's a small step. But so if you look at the IPCC report, so we can see the mitigation option a very organized way, the structured way, but we can't see any that organized technologically organize the list of the adaptation measure. So it's even if the MDBs like the ADB and the IFIs, it's mobilizing the money, but no one can move on the ground. So thank you for making it happen. So Mr. Funaki, sorry, Mr. Tsuboi, sorry, my seat. So how do you see as a startup, and what is the challenge and the opportunity to interact with the MDBs, IFIs, to better collaborate, to deploy your technology in the so probably your technology originally invented as they're solving the mitigation problem, but it can be applied to adaptation as well, maybe, yeah.
So adaptation side, so like we have like a three category to that. So one is like a soil situation. So farmers understands like how amounts to like decrease the fertilizer level and how to change to so fertilizer to the like organic matters. So we advise through the like our solutions. So they don't know. So the country, some countries are using the lot of the fertilizer. They don't have the know-how. So they try to changing this way. So using data. The second one is a climate resilience. So satellite, one of the like a satellite is monitoring the climate temperature level, like soil temperature also. So these data is like to maximum of the like this point is fit for this product. So like fruits, so changing the prices. So this price is better for that. So we using the climate data, so advice for the farmers. And the third one is like a water situation. Irrigation system is you mentioned. So where is the best places to like enter? Or like after enter the irrigation system, so what kind of the changing before and after that data can like show about the situation. So like collaborated this project, so the base the data is like one of the like option to decide about that. So the problem one is like most of the like farmer in developing country is that don't have the money to invest to installs of technology. So that is the reason we are using the carbon credit partially. Yep. So if so doing the business for the carbon credits, we can spread our technology freely. So and cross the AI, they understand the situation and they try to change the way. But finally, so to scale this product, the collaborated like research sector or like finance sector is so important to that. Yes.
Thank you. So, global climate finance money goes, only 4% goes to the agriculture. And as far as I know, only 5% money goes to adaptation. If we combine the dual benefits with mitigation, only 10% of the global climate finance goes to adaptation. So addressing the imbalances requires more than probably negotiations. It requires technology solutions. And for that reason, I want to thank Japan's leadership for bringing up solutions and connecting them with the global community. So Midori Infinity is a powerful example of finance, technology, and policy coming together in a coherent package. I encourage the government to continue expanding its technology portfolio, including the adaptation clearly, and create a platform that is truly investable. Money there. And so we need more visibility in the ecosystem to make it easier to invest and to collaborate to make it happen. So in fact, increasing investment in adaptation often means increasing an investment in the agriculture sector itself. So thank you again, Mark, for your leadership in elevated elevating the adaptation agenda within the agriculture sector and the crop community. So could you say something as a final remark from Muff?
Well, you said everything I want to say, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I would say. But thinking about the government role from the discussion today, I think about two things. One is the infrastructure issues, and one is innovation issues. ADB person from ADB and if had all talked about the importance of the irrigation, which is the infrastructure of the agriculture, and thinking about the government role. Developing infrastructure is one of the role, but still, it is not only the government role, but it's maybe can do with private sector and other sector. For example, I was my previous job was in JICA and was vice president of JICA, but they are doing irrigation, very primitive irrigation, doing we call it Project Kobushi, but doing in Africa, but it's very primitive, using stones and twigs in local and making a very primitive irrigation. So that can be done by the farmers itself. So there will be many ways, many ideas that to tackle with this water problem and make developing the infrastructure. And the second point is, I think, innovations, that the innovation is I think the key to the climate change countermeasures. And of course, the government itself is like develop the innovative product like a high dry heat resistant variety, but considering that almost many innovative technologies are developed in the private sectors, one of the government the role is to support those private sectors and startups. So in innovation side, again, there will be the role of a government, but there will be more like creating an environment that companies and startups can achieve great achievement. That's what I thought from these discussions.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kubota. Thank you again for the leadership. And could I ask the final remark from the IFAD and Mr. Bogart, and and thank you again for the paving the way, how to raising the global awareness in agriculture investment as well as adaptation.
Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I think a lot of has already been said, but I really like the way we are sitting here with the private sector, with the public sector, with the MDBs together, research as well. Let's not forget that I think together we can be a very powerful movement, but it should be based on evidence. It should be based not on instinct or emotion, but really on research and evidence. So I'm really glad to see this, to have been part of this panel, and I hope the audience has picked up some ideas. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So please join me once again in giving a big round of applause to all our panelists and speakers and contributors to the session. Thank you.